Hey guys, it's Sabrina. Here is our top 5 of 2025 that you guys love, and I hope you enjoy seeing them again. Love y'all.
This is another thing I have been dying to make for my final reveal setup. I'm going to make like a big window. Those were originally canvas frames, and I could tell because there was a bunch of staple holes in the back. This is more good stuff from my friend Shelly. Thank you, Heifer Shelly. So anyway, so I got 4 of those, and I took the measurements, and I'm wiping them all down because they were in the closet outside. We had some cobwebs, all sorts of good stuff. I'm also make sure that I am sanding them down with my little zip sander there. And this is the back side, and this is where you could tell. See, that's what I'm pointing out. There's a whole bunch of holes. So this was originally had canvas on the outside, and apparently Shirley must have took it all off. Now, on the back, there were one staple on the front in the corners. They were pretty sturdy, but I decided just to be on the safe side, I took my stapler there and I put 2 staples in the back, connecting those corners just to make sure. And then my strength, or I don't know how to work an electric stapler or something, so I just hammered them in to make sure we're good. So everybody is sanded, sturdy, ready to go. Gonna take my plaster there, and we are just gonna paint the tops, the sides, the insides. I'm not worrying about the back though, but the outside edges, the inside edges, and the tops, I am gonna paint with my plaster. And so I'm going to kind of just get you started here because I know we know how to paint. Got a nice little chippy brush there from Walmart. This is like an amazing brush. I'm almost out of my plaster paint there. That's why I got it turned upside down. I'm going to get every bit out of there that I can. Going to speed it up for you because I'm just showing you that I'm painting the outside edges. I'm getting the inside edges really good. And of course the tops. But I'm not worried about the back. I can come back later. I could do the back if I want. It's like propped up against the wall right now. It might eventually get hung on the wall. I'm still working on my reveal space. But this is just something I have been wanting to make for a really long time. And I just gave these guys 1 coat. That's it. They only got the 1 coat. Guys, those clamps, they've got some new tool stuff in the tool section at Dollar Tree. 2 clamps for $3, y'all. 2 of the vice clamps for $3. I bought 2 packs. Oh, I was so excited. They may not be the best, but you know what? They're going to work for me. Okay, so we're going to use our wood glue from Dollar Tree and some hot glue. And I'm going to glue 2 frames together. And then once I get those together, I'll, of course, stick them together really good. And I kind of rotated them around to make sure they were somewhat even. And these evened out pretty good. These are really good canvases, wherever these came from. They weren't Dollar Tree canvases, that's for sure. Well, they too big to be Dollar Tree canvases. But now to figure out these clamps took obviously more than a college degree and a master's degree because I'm still trying to figure them out. But they did work very, very well. They served their purpose, I'll tell you that. So, and then they squeeze and you tighten it up just like you would your good clamps you'd buy somewhere. But hey, 2 little ones for $3, I'll take it. Yeah, they got all sorts of stuff. They actually got a little drill and everything now. I also bought me some big old clamps. I got the ones with the pink handles, but these were even bigger, so I've been wanting some of these for a while. So I just clamped those on the ends, and then I put the 2 little vice clamps on the insides. So we got those 2 all glued together. I'm going to just wipe off any glue that oozed out, but most of it oozed out the back because I slid it down so that it would go toward the back and not the front. Get those puppies stuck on there, and I just decided to pop in and say hello. I'm working on the second 2 frames now. Now that we've got both sets done, I connected 2 and then the other 2 because I had 4. I flipped them over and I took my Titebond and I just put it in that crack on the back where they met. And then I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to run it down and smear it and get that glue in those cracks because I want to make sure that this holds together. And guys, this thing is pretty sturdy. I mean, I'm sure it would still snap apart and break if it fell or if you really like smack this up against the wall or something. So there's the 2 pieces, the top and bottom. 2 and 2 have been glued together. Now I'm going to glue the top 2 to the bottom 2. So I'm going to use the hot glue and wood glue again. And there we go. We're all set up. And then I took my Titebond again, ran it all the way down. We're all clamped together. We're good, ready to go. I'm letting this baby sit overnight, and I don't get to it until the next night. So here we are the next night. It's all together. It just showing you, I was shaking it. It's pretty sturdy. Now, I got these little thin slats from Temu. Came in a big old package. You can see they fit good. One will fit good from side to side, but they're not long enough to go from top to bottom, so I got to piece it. So you see 2 of them already done over there, but I did better showing you on this one. So I'm showing you how skinny they are. And I'm showing you one goes across, but up and down, nope, doesn't work. So I already took my measurements. And what I've done is I make sure that it's measured. Don't ask me the size. I can't remember at this point. I think I showed you guys earlier. But anyway, I'm marking my center point here for my one that'll go all the way across. I go ahead and mark my center points for my ones that are going from, it looks like side to side, but it's top to bottom. It's the longer side where I've got to take 2 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue my one piece that goes through the middle there that fits all the way across. And I'm using just hot glue. Guys, don't use just hot glue. I was running out of time. I just finished this last night, like really late. So I just used hot glue and used a ton of hot glue. Guys, use wood glue. Use the Titebond. Don't just use hot glue. Okay, if you really want this thing to stick, use some good stuff, okay? Now, I was using the Craft-Bond wood glue, which is a heavier wood glue, or the Gorilla wood glue, that hot glue, I mean, not wood glue. That might work, but I'm just using hot glue here because I was running out of time. So anyway, so you could see how I use my miter shears to cut a chunk of that off, and the chunk I cut off of one, I use that to just keep measuring to cut off the chunks of all the rest of them. And then they meet on that middle slat, and I just put some hot glue in the middle and hold that all together. Are these perfectly straight? No, of course not, but it works. And then I just put more glue on the outside where they hit the frame, and then through the middle right here. I loaded this thing up with hot glue. But like I said, your best bet would be to use Titebond like I'm showing you, or some actual wood glue, and then let it sit. So there we go. Got all 4 of them done. Had to get rid of a lot of glue webs. That was fun. Now I'm going to take my antique wax and a dry paper towel. And I'm just going to go over the little, I guess they're the little bamboo sticks or whatever. I got them off Temu. Very big package, very good price. They're very good. I like them. They're sturdy. They're pretty thick. So I'm just going to take my antique wax and I'm just going to show you on this one. I'm just going to give them a good rub down with a dry paper towel to get the inside of my frame. So this is supposed to be like a big looking window. I've thrown around in my mind, do I want a big window? Do I want to make a cathedral looking window like I seen Kathy Jo make out of foam board, and some other ladies have done it out of foam board? But I just said, no, I had those in my stash. I said, let's roll with it. I had 4 exactly. I am back to that vintage bluish grayish color, and that's what I'm using to distress this. You're thinking, why are you using a grayish blue to distress? Because I like it. And it matches the little riser I made. And I do have the brown in it, but those are kind of the colors of my living room. I like have the bluish, teal, darker grays, and then grays and browns and the cream colors. So that's why I'm using that. Plus, I like it. I just think it looks pretty. If I decide I want to change it later, I'll sand it all down and paint it. That's why I'm not really Mod Podging anything. I want to make sure this is what I want. I'm just using a distressing brush from Dollar Tree there, by the way. I'm offloading on the paper towel. But so you're going to need this bunny and this bunny. We need the bunny with the dangly feet because we want the hands off of it. So you see they're gone. Okay, and here's, if you didn't want that bunny that I showed you in the picture that you'll see in a minute, they have other things. I think the bunny butts are cute. I like big butts in the camera. Sorry. And so a bunny butt, a regular bunny, you can do a chick, just whatever. Here's a crate from the Dollar Tree. You can use the one with the holes, without the holes. Need some carrots, which we know the Dollar Tree is full of. And I'm going to put all this together. We need some floral wire in black, which was Dollar Tree. sponge brush, paintbrush, that is agave and plaster chalk paint, and of course a Sharpie, no doubt. And there's some more little carrots. Yep. Pumpkin and the moss paint for the orange, for the carrots. And then we need some wooden hearts from Valentine's Day. Abracadabra, hokey pokey poof. Oh, look what I made. Woohoo! Guys, this is so cute. So, oh, sorry, guys. So the agave, I did buffalo check on the bunny. And then the little crate I painted with the plaster. I just hot glued that together after it was all painted, said and done. I will show you how to do the little wire whiskers here in a second. All the outline and drawing you see is just done with a Sharpie. See there? Bunny treats. That was a little picture that I found on Cricut Access, so I'm sure you could find it on there. I did not put foam in this, and I did not glue any of that greenery down, nor the carrots. Now, those carrots, I don't know if I got at Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby. I can't remember. Used some ballerina pink for the ears, cheeks, and his little toe beans. Here's how I made his whiskers. I just cut off a piece of that black floral wire that's from the Dollar Tree. If you get a small paintbrush handle, wrap, and then just slide it off. Boom, you got little whiskers. I glued the whiskers down, and then I took one of those hearts that I got from Dollar Tree at Valentine's, and you glue it on top of the whiskers, and that kind of helps hold it all together. My cute little eyeballs and stuff there, Country Charm with Tracy, I learned how to do that from her. And all the little squigglies all the way around the edge, that whimsical stuff, that was all from her. Isn't that cute? Hey, if you guys want to know how to do the buffalo check paint, I'm going to show you here in a few minutes. Okay, now we got a little chickie. We get those at the Dollar Tree too. Chickies and bunnies, the colors, it's my favorite time of year. Okay, so plaster and some yellow. We all know these little signs from the Dollar Tree, right? We'll pop that out of there because we never hang them. No, we sure don't. My gosh, I got 12 frogs in my throat. Anyway, so I've got some scallion. I've got some ballerina pink, some pool color, and some lavender. And we'll use that yellow that's on the cheeky over there. And we got those styrofoam eggs. We're going to paint those styrofoam eggs. And after we paint them, we're going to splatter them with some black paint. And those were from leftover from last year. So see, are those cute? Oh, they came out so cute. So I just painted them with chalk paint and then splattered them with the black chalk paint. And now we got some little chickies. They also have bunnies. So it'd be your choice. Abracadabra, poof. Aha! Here's what we got here. Here's my little chickie. I swear I made these guys. I did that buffalo check. I promise. And I'm fresh out of clucks. But you know, all I did was hot glue chickie to the sign on the bottom there. There is floral foam glued in this because no plans were to take this apart at all. So I glued the floral foam in, and then all those florals are from Dollar Tree. They're all bits and scraps and pieces that I just had laying around. I glued in a couple of my little styrofoam eggs that I had painted, and there's two little chickies. I'm just fresh out of clucks. Yep. Scallion to paint that bottom thing, and then Sharpie again to do all my outline and my eyeballs and eyelashes. Yep, just an old Sharpie. It's my favorite. And there we go, all glued together. Mod Podged everything, and also the bunny with the bunny treats. Mod Podged everything on those as well. DIY number 5. Here is how you buffalo check. Or better yet, here is how not to buffalo check. This comes out terrible, but you get the idea. So I got another little chick here. I did do this yesterday, yes. I'm going to paint her white to start with. And I'm going to give her 2 coats. First, I'm just going to paint on the first coat, and then the second coat, I will use my little dauber sponge brush there. See, that's what I'm saying. Second coat, sponge, snap, boom. Look how quick I am. I wish I could be this fast all the time. Okay, so she's pretty and white, ready to go. I've pulled out some pinks. That's home decor and like a vintage pink. I love it. There's ballerina and Waverly and fuchsia and apple barrel. I know it doesn't look like the ballerina slipper and the vintage pink. It looks very close to the same, but trust me, they're totally different. We're going to take some painter's tape here, and I found the middle, and I taped it off all the way across. Now I'm using a little piece and I'm edging it up, bumping it up right beside it. Now another long piece, make sure whatever piece you get goes all the way across. Line it up, press it down, and now we can pull off that little piece. That little piece is just a guide to make sure that our stripes stay the same size. So I'll put it down and I'll just keep reusing that little piece. Line it up, press it, pull it off. Now I'll just go through this really fast. So we're just going to go all the way up, down. Moose is again here to join us as usual. I didn't yeet him this time. He stuck around for a little while and then left. He's like, oh, nope, tape, sticky, ain't having it. So there we go. We got her taped off. I'm going to start with my vintage pink here by Home Decor. Got it at Walmart. No, I got that. Maybe, no, where'd I get that? Might have been Walmart, or it might have been Hobby Lobby. I might have actually got that. Anyway, watch how I paint. Pull down and away from your tape to prevent some bleeding. So you notice how on the top tape I pulled down, and on that bottom tape I pulled up. So see, like again, I'm going to pull up and away from your tape. That'll prevent the bleeding. So I'll show you again, but I'll go faster here to not put you through all this misery and listening to me. So here we go. Just pull away from it, and then I just daub through the middle and make sure everything is coated good. And I actually gave everything 2 coats. Before it dries, pull your tape off. Don't wait till it dries. As soon as you're done, pull your tape off. Be careful to not stick your fingers in your paint. Keep that tape. Don't throw that tape away, okay? Because we're going to use it again later. Now we dry it, now that the tape is off. So after it is good and dry, now we're going to make our tape go vertical, okay? So I'm going to just put a piece all the way down through the middle. And guys, make sure your pieces of tape, make sure you go back over them and press them really, really good so that you make sure there's no bleeding as well. Here's that little piece of guide tape to make sure our stripes stay the same size. But your tape that's going to stay, make sure it goes all the way from top to bottom. There's been times I've almost forgot his little hair and his feet at the bottom. So we just keep using our guide tape to fill in and put our other big long tape on. And making sure that it is all pressed down really, 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 really good. Now I'm going to use my ballerina slipper by Waverly. Same sponge brush, didn't really care. It's all pink. I was just trying to use different shades of pink on this one. And again, I'm going to brush away from the tape and then I pounce it. So like here, I'm brushing away from that tape. Then I brush away from the other side. And then I'll pounce through the middle and kind of even everything out. Now I'll go through this real fast. Just watch. I gave this 2 coats as well. See, pull away, dab, dab, dab. And get her all done. There we go. And I did give that 2 coats, but I didn't put you through the misery of the second one. Now don't take your tape off this time. Dry it enough. You're going to dry it with this tape on. Now do you see how some of these squares are darker than the other ones? That's because that's where the original tape was that we first started with. We're going to take our tape that we started with the horizontal, and we're going to put it in the same place that we had it before. So I'm trying to put it in the lighter spaces because that's where this tape originally was. And I did not get it straight, and you'll see that here in a second. If you do not get it straight, you're going to have some wonky buffalo check. There's a lot of people that do it way better than I do. They take their Sharpie and put little X's on the tape so they know where it's supposed to go. And of course, I didn't do anything smart like that. Oh, Lord, I need to start, work smarter, not harder. I thought I was working smarter, not harder here by showing y'all things I've already done and just walking you through it. But apparently, I'm just going to steal Hot Mess Express. Woo, woo. Here we go. Okay. So now that we've painted it, we will pull the tape off this time. Okay, so the first time you paint it, pull the tape off without drying. The second stripes, leave the tape on and dry. The last stripes, pull the tape off before it dries. Okay, and you guys can, of course, slow this down if you want and all that. So from far away, this looks pretty good. Dry it, make sure you're dry. But here is what it is not supposed to look like. First of all, don't stick your finger in your white paint. See how the lines are off? That is because I did not put the tape back in the right spot. But you know what? That's okay. The top looks pretty good up there. And the bottom looks okay, but boy, that middle. Oh, I'm just going to have to try that again. But look, my chickie look good. I'm just fresh out of clucks, I guess. Isn't the chickie cute? I swear I painted that chickie. I swear. Look how good that chickie look. Ooh, yeah. And there's your bunny if you don't like the colors of the bunnies. And they got chickies now at the Dollar Tree. Paint them, guys. I just sponge painted him. And then I just took some distressing to him to make those dents pop. Dents. I'm sure there's a better word for it than that. And I painted that buffalo check too. I swear to goodness, I painted that buffalo check. See, it does look wonky on his ear. Sorry, guys. And bunny treats. For those words, if you don't have a Cricut, just write it. Here we go. You see this wood stuff I got out. I got 2 pumpkins from the Dollar Tree, 4 little wood pallets, and then a lid off a box that my friend Shelly gave me. Thank you, Shelly. And then I've got some beautiful material I got there from the Dollar Tree, but this is before prices went up. So yeah, you know, we're going to take my little heat gun there and my little, spatula popper thing there. And I popped off all the little pieces and of course popped off the little raggedy looking bows. What I'm doing now is I'm kind of marking off, these are the pieces for pumpkin number 1. And those are the pieces for pumpkin number 2. I put an X on the side that I want the fabric on. And now I'm marking them left side, right side. This probably isn't necessary, but for my brain, C for center. Yeah, and then arrow up because that's the top. You probably didn't need to do this, but for my brain, I felt this was needed. So, yeah. Anyway, so we're going to set them up on there. Moose is going to check it out, make sure we're good to go. We're going to take our Mod Podge here, and I'm going to put some Mod Podge on our pieces. I'm not going to stick them completely right straight together. I want a little bit of space between them, so when I go to cut them, sand them, all that good stuff, we're good to go. Yeet the cat. Okay, so taking my Mod Podge here. Sorry, I'm a little out of focus. I was trying to get a little bit closer so you could see my left and my right and my X's, 1s, and 2s. Not that it's necessary. Cover it with Mod Podge completely. I was kind of picky on where I wanted these pieces because I wanted to make sure certain pumpkins showed up, like the little blue ones and stuff, because, I like my blue with the fall. So just coating these with Mod Podge, just kind of sticking them as though they were on the pumpkin itself. And yeah, so there we go. I'm not going to put you through this whole thing, just showing you this one. Make sure you get your glue all the way to the edges, all that good stuff. I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. Now, let it dry a little bit. I'm just going to cut this chunk out right here. It worked out pretty good. I could just cut down between all those pumpkins and flowers right there. So, worked good. Yes, I did. All right. So, now once that gets all dry, I pretty much let that, first, okay, so here's the front. I'm just smoothing it out, making sure all the bumps and lumps are out. And now I'm going to take some more Mod Podge. And this is gloss Mod Podge, but with the fabric, it really doesn't matter. I'm just putting Mod Podge all over this thing, and I'm just trying to feel where the pieces are and just putting more Mod Podge, but I just went ham all over and, yeah, dried it. But I really let it set overnight. So, but while those were drying, before I go overnight, so there's pumpkin number 1, pumpkin number 2. So kind of made a mess when I popped that stuff off and then sanded it down with my sander. That's what the black spot smears was, but we'll be okay. Putting a little bit of painter's tape on the back of those holes that were at the top, and then just using some DAP. This is actually DAP filler, not the Dollar Tree stuff, because I'm out of that now. And I can't find it anymore. And we're just filling our holes here in a little bit. The tape on the back keeps it from kind of coming out the other side. I dried it. It kind of shriveled up too much. But you know what? Okay. I don't end up putting bows up there later on, you'll see. But you guys can do that. Anyway, I'm going squirrel here. Sorry. Woo-wee. All right, so we're going to use maize, and we're going to use that agave. You guys know I'm happy with these colors for the fall. Painted all those up, let those dry. Okay, this is day 2. All right, so the pumpkins are drying, and now we're going to cut. I cut the 2 pumpkin pieces apart. And now I'm just taking my little X-Acto knife razor blade here and just cutting pretty close to the edges right here. Right here, right here, right here, right here, and then. Anyway, just a lot of repetition. Okay. Anyway, been working with rhyming words and repetition and with my littles. So I think that's all my brain is powered to do right now. Okay, so I sped this up a little bit just so you can see. I'm cutting that out. I'm going to take my sander, and yes, when you put the Mod Podge on the fabric and it hardens, it does dry so hard that you can sand your fabric off. So I got it pretty close with the razor blade. So you don't have to do this, but I just wanted to do this to make sure I had some smooth edges. We all know that the wood pieces from Dollar Tree are pretty rough. So I'm going to speed through this real speedy and quick. We'll do all the little sides. We'll do the big part in the middle. I probably could have cut half this out because you don't want to watch that. How y'all doing? Okay, there we go. All right, so you can see there's our pieces. I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. And then there we go. I'm going to use my Tim Holtz little mini distressing ink here. I can't tell what that said. I usually use the vintage photo, but I think this was like a little bit of a darker color. I'm just taking my little finger dauber there, and I'm going around the edges so that it doesn't look so stark white of wood, making the edges darker. And then I'm also putting a little bit on top of the fabric around the edge. So I rub, I dab, I smear. And you can kind of tell the difference. I kind of do it here. I don't know if you could tell very good. But the one on the left is the one I've put the ink on. And then the one on the right, I have not inked yet. You can kind of tell better when it's further away. So I've done the pieces on the yellow, but not the blue. So you can kind of really tell the difference kind of now. I just thought it looked pretty cool. So we're gonna try to take this wood glue from the Dollar Tree, which is really good stuff, but okay, just wait, y'all. Okay, so you see me beating that, trying to get that glue out, right? And then I'm gonna kind of just use a paintbrush to spread it all over. I did not want to use hot glue because I didn't want an instant hold right here. I wanted it to be able to wiggle it around, to be able to move my pieces around if I need to. Here I go, beat my glue again, guys. Hang in there. Just wait. Just watch. Yeah, okay. At some point, and remember, this is in fast motion. Chunk that bottle. I'm out. I've got more, but do I get up? No, let me just grab my tight bond. Now I'm going to fight with that bottle. Anywho, I like to fight with myself. So anyway, so still not a permanent hold, but this stuff will hold once it's dry. So you don't have to move quick as if it were hot glue, but you can't take too awfully long either, because this stuff, both that wood glue from Dollar Tree and the Tite Bond, they set up pretty quick. But it's not like hot glue. I could still move these. Sorry for the head. I see how I'm kind of moving them, rearranging them a little bit. I'll just take my clamps once I get them where I like them, and then just kind of stick them on the ends there to make sure that they're held down. Now, of course, I couldn't put one up there on the top, but we're going to let those sit to the side. We'll let those babies dry. By the time my yellow one was finished and those set, I'm going to make my little box here we're going to put in the middle, and they'll be dry. So I've got 4 pallets, and then this was a lid off a box. I used the box for something. Don't remember what, but I've got my lid left. Moose is going to come over and give me a helping hand getting all my stickers off, so sorry for the close-up view, but I know y'all love the Moosey Moo anyway, so there he be. Yes, he is. Yeah, look at that moose. Okay, so we're going to take our 4 pallets, and I'm kind of just showing you right here how I'm going to set it up. I didn't want, I don't even know how to explain this. See how I did it? Yeah, that's how I did it. Okay, so now we're going to take some of the Tite Bond, and I'm going to take some hot glue because I want the instant and the long-term hold. And not all that glue is going to go in there because we all know that the sides of those pallets are kind of open. So I was hoping some glue would catch. It's holding up really good so far. I'm waiting for, one of these fuzzy butts around here to knock it off the shelf, and we'll see if it holds up. Anywho, you can kind of see how I don't even know how to say this, guys. Offset. Because, like, the first one I glued on the side, and this one I'm gluing by the side, on top of it, then on the side of it. You guys can see what I'm doing. I didn't glue them both. Y'all, I don't even know. What day is it? Friday. I'll be glad when we get to our 4-day weeks. Yes, our school, we have 4-day weeks. Makes for a long week because we got to be there from 7 o'clock in the morning till 4 if we're lucky and don't want to take anything home with us. And yeah, but we don't start that until September. So yeah, we've had 5-day weeks from 7 o'clock till 4, then coming home and killing ourselves with some more work at home. But hey, this life of a teacher, gotta love it. Yeah, we do. But I'm telling you, we love those 4-day weeks. I don't know how we survived the 5-day weeks a long time ago. Phew. Anyway, y'all, sorry, squirrel. Anywho, so you can see after I got it glued together, I took a little bit of extra hot glue and just kind of went on the insides to make sure it had a little bit more of a hold, because all these pallets have all the open holes in them. So, So I kind of just took my pencil, and this is the top of the lid. And I kind of took my pencil and kind of just drew the corners on there where you can see. So I knew where I needed to put the glue. And we'll use some more Titebond. I'll also use a little bit of hot glue. And we'll get this puppy stuck right there on top. Guys, I could have cut so much of this out and could have sped it up some more, I guess. Did I measure any of this? Absolutely not. Who measures anything? What's a measuring tape? I don't math, so I just do the reading, so we just going for it. I'm gonna take a wipey and wipe off all the glue that has managed to ooze out. Now I don't care what the inside looks like. So there's some clumps of glue in there. But not worried about it. So here I'm kind of thinking, what do I want to do? So I was going to use my Antique Waverly wax, but then I thought, well, I want to glue my pumpkins to the box. I'm going to put a pumpkin on each end of the box, right? But if I use my Antique Waverly wax, the glue is less likely to stick. So I took my burnt umber from Apple Barrel that I showed you 30 minutes ago and watered it down a little bit to just kind of make a stain. You can make a stain with any color of acrylic paint, guys. If you want a blue stain, take your blue, add some water to it. If you want a pink stain, take your pink, add some water to it, you'll get a stain. So I figured by using the acrylic paint, the burnt umber by Apple Barrel, and adding some water to it, and I'm just putting it on with one of those chunky stenciling, stippling, whatever, distressing brushes from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going ham all over it, and I'm smearing it on, I'm rubbing it off, and all that kind of good stuff, and I'm spraying it with more water to get a little bit more off, because I want it to look like a stain, not like it's painted. So, and then, of course, I'm having to pick off the paper towel. I'm just using a dry paper towel right now because I sprayed it with the water, and now I'm wiping it with a dry paper towel. Here in a second, I'll brush it some more because I took too much off. And now, since I was so crazy with all that, see all that splatter everywhere? Yeah, it also splattered on my pumpkins. But you know what? It's okay. We're going to fix that. I'll show you how to fix that. Okay, so we're going to take our clips off, and we're going to splatter the tops of our pumpkins because I did it by accident, and now we're making it happen on purpose. I almost went into panic mode, and I thought, oh my gosh, I've just splattered this brown antique. Guys, it was a mess. All over the table, all over my shirt. Oh, my Lanta. And these were just sitting at the back of the table where you saw my hand just then. And so they weren't far away, and they got splattered, but we saved the day. We'll just splatter the whole thing. Y'all know I like to splatter and make a mess. Now, I realized, okay, these are going to show, so we got to paint the backs too. So while that little box dried, I painted the backs of our maize pumpkin and our agave pumpkin. And so see, here's where I'm going to glue it on. So if you use the antique wax, it might not hold as good. So that's why I used the burnt umber with some water to make a stain. It'll stick a lot better. And again, here I'm going to fight with this bottle of glue, and I'll use my Titebond. And I will also use hot glue to get both that permanent and temporary hold, hopefully. And I'm not gluing, the box was set kind of inside, and I still have that edge lip around because the lid was bigger. So I'm setting the pumpkins on top of that lid. Look, I'm on my muscle. Arrgh. Yeah, see? So it kind of sits on top right there. And then we'll put our maize pumpkin over here on the other side. And, it came out pretty good. And it's holding really good. Has not hit the floor yet, so I can't be an official judge of that. And I'm going to leave it right here, like kabam boom. A lot of these things that I have done are inspired by Pinterest. You may have seen them. I had these pumpkins in my stash. Got a couple bigger ones, got a couple smaller ones. We're going to paint our two bigger ones with the ink, and we're going to paint the two smaller ones with what's called Everlasting. Got it at the Pop Shelf, Dollar General, and Abracadabra Poof. So there we go. There's our two black ones. I gave them 2 coats, and the white one I gave 2 coats. I've got some wooden biscuits here. I'm going to use my miter shears, just cut them right down through the middle, kaboop, just like that. I also do it to the other little biscuit over there, but I'm only showing you one. You don't need to see both. You get the gist. I'm going to file this little baby down a little bit, make sure it is nice and smooth like butter. There we go. Okay, and now I'm going to make sure that those 2 little pieces of biscuit are the ink, and then those 2 little pieces of biscuit will be the white Everlasting that matches our other pumpkins. So here we go. I gave all the pumpkins another coat, a 3rd coat of paint with my pouncer brush, just to think it would give it some texture like a kitty, because yeah, we're making kitties. Of course we're making kitties. And I'm making a Beelzebub and a Moosey Man. That's right, this black one's going to be the Moosey Man. And anyway, with the dauber pouncer to give it some texture like fur, yeah, it didn't work. It still dried pretty flat. Anyway, I'm using hot glue. These are all foam pumpkins, but they're not going to get too roughed around, and if they do and fall apart, it is what it is. You'll see later Moose is trying to attack, and so is Bees, so they're probably going to get eaten and tore up. Anyway, using my little glue pen there to hot glue the little biscuit ears on. And there we go. We're already off and starting to look like a kitty. Did the same thing to the white one. I know the head looks kind of big compared to the skinny body, but it's the pumpkins that I had that worked the best. So, Okay, we're going to take some white, that Everlasting, some ink, and I think that was like a gray fox color or something from Apple Barrel. It was a gray color from Apple Barrel. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take some black, and I at first mixed some gray in, thinking that would lighten it up, and no, of course that didn't. So we're going to add some white. I know nothing about colors, y'all. I need a color chart. Anyway, so once I mixed some white with it, about 2 globs, that worked a little better, but I did still keep the gray in it, and I didn't totally mix it. I kept it kind of swirly, because you're going to see here, we're painting bees right now. And I will give you a picture here in just a second, okay? And Bees is more, not totally black like Moose is, because they are brothers from the same litter. They were only the only two in their litter. But Bees has more of a gray tint to him than Moose does. Moose has more of the black. So what we're painting right now is Beezy's little face. So we know Beezy is mostly white. He's got the point. There's my Beelzebub right there. There he is. So this is who I'm trying to recreate, is little Beelzebub, all right? And I don't show you the whole thing. You'll get to see it later in the final reveals. Now we're going to paint the Moosey Man. Now we all know what our Moosey Man looks like. Yep. So I'm going to make his little white on his nose there. And then I'm going to get to the white kind of on his chest, his little manly, hairy little white chest. So we're going to kind of just give you the rundown of that. I do a lot of extra touching up on this because there was too much white or too much black, and so there was a lot of touching up. This project actually took me quite a long while because I am so perfectionist. And see, I got the back there because Bees has gray down his back anyway. So there they are. They're done, ready to go. Okay, now I've got some black felt. We got to make some tails. Now, these things I used last year in the Imagination Challenge. We had to use some like floral wire or something. And we had to, I needed to make a snowman. Look, Gracie a little mad because I didn't make one of her. So she's going to sit there and watch and get mad and leave. Anyway, what those things are is like some floral wire, some aluminum foil, and then some fabric and hot glue all wrapped and intertwined because I needed to make some snowman arms. Well, I made them like really too long, and so these were pieces that were left over from a Christmas project from last year. He was my little snowman I made out of the stackable pumpkins from the Dollar Tree, and he had his bucket of snowballs that were tumbling over and falling out. And we also had to use the cat pooper scooper to do that. And so the pooper scooper held up the bucket of snowballs. Yeah, I might, if I remember, link that down in my description box if you want to go ahead and get started for Christmas. Anyway, so then I just wrapped it up in some black felt. Easy peasy, no big deal. Now what I'm doing, I'm not pushing any hot glue in there. I'm just taking the end of my glue gun, because remember, these are foam pumpkins. So I am just melting a hole in his booty back there. It looked kind of wrong in a little bit. And anyway, and I got me a hole built back there, and I've made it big enough, but I did trim down the end of that tail part a little bit, because it needed to be a little thinner, because this stuff was thick. Let me tell you, it was thick. Thick like the moose. Okay, so we got it in there, and I shove it in as good as I can, and then I do take a little hot glue, put it around the edge, and it is bendable because it's got a real big, bendable, thick floral wire in it. That's how it's bending like that. And then the reason it had all that brown fabric on the outside was because it was snowman arms, so they were supposed to be sticks. But hey, got some felt on it. Now they're kitty tails. So now we got our kitty tails done. I did it to bees as well. Now we got to have a little bit of whiskers here. So I am going to use this black. This is all floral wire, all from Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby, Michael's. This black came from Dollar Tree. The silver might have came from Dollar Tree, but I'm not completely sure. Anywho, I'm going to use the black for the Beelzebub, and I'm going to use the white for the Moosey Moose, because that's pretty much how they are, I think. I know Moose has the white whiskers. They really stand out on his black fur. And I think Beezy kind of has just a combination of all of them. But Beezy has white whiskers too. He's just walking by me right now. Oh, well, that's okay. We can be different. I put 3 on each side, and remember, being foam pumpkins, I'm just poking these suckers in. I didn't use any hot glue because I didn't want to use too much and melt it. Like I said, these are probably going to end up falling apart. This is just the whole make a kitty out of pumpkin thing. You can find so many on Pinterest. There's other crafters that do them. So this is just, I took that inspiration and I went from there. And instead of just painting them all black, like most people do, I made them to look like my Beezy and my Moosey. And see, here's Moosey checking it out. He's like, hey, Ma, what you doing there? Man, what's going on? Yeah, he really gets to busting in there in a second. Yep. Okay. See? Okay. So now we're going to take the Moosey, and I use the silver, and there they go. They got their whiskers. Moosey's really checking it out like, what's going on? Here, have a little bit of my booty, everybody. Enter the Moose Man. Here we go. Now, I thought this ribbon, because if you've seen them on Pinterest or another crafter do them, they take the ribbon and wrap it around where the 2 pumpkins join at the neck, because that kind of covers up any glue and any yuck. Well, I thought this orange ribbon was like a thick glitter orange ribbon. It's not. It's like a cobweb meshy ribbon. And it's really thin, and I wasn't happy about that. But it's really kind of all I had to make it look different than just the black and the white. I wanted a little orange to make it Halloween-y, but so I get it on there. It's not the best. I'm not thrilled with it, but it's okay. And yeah, I was having issues cutting things, and but yeah. See, it's so thin, it got inside and wrinkled, didn't cover it up good. Anyway, went ahead and put it on both the guys. I got this package of bat rings. Usually there's only the spider rings, but I like the bats. I like bats better than spiders. And I'm going to cut the little ring part off that goes on your finger. And I'm just going to hot glue that right in the front there, like they got something on their little collar there, like their little name tag. Moose is all into business. He's like, look at me. Who's that handsome pumpkin kitty? Oh, he's so handsome, mama. Look, I'm trying to show him off. Look at there. You guys like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because look at them gorgeous gentlemen. Oh, look at such a ham. Look, but I don't think Bees is very approving. Anyway, that's about as long as I could get them to sit. You have one DIY in this, because this is literally one big hot mess. We're going to start with this drop cloth, okay? Got it at Walmart, really cheap, a ton of it, okay? best value ever, okay? Got some brown paper here. We're gonna make a big gingy. Bees is gonna help us out, okay? You see Bees, Moose, and Baby even makes an appearance later, and of course the Gracie Lou. Okay, so I took a piece of just this brown paper. You can buy a roll at Dollar Tree, you know, that kind of stuff. And I folded it in half. I got it pretty long and then folded it in half. Now, we're going to attempt to draw just by hand a gingy man, okay? And so there's his head. Yes, this is the story of my life right here, okay? Yeah, there's always got to be somebody up in my business, and that's the Bees. No, it's not the Moose. It's the Bees, his twin brother. Anyway, so yeah, so there's my gingy, right? Doesn't look too bad right now. Yeah, I probably should have left it this pattern, but I ended up changing it because after I cut it out, he looked too skinny. Keep it folded while you cut, because that way you get your whole piece, right? Okay. So I thought he didn't look too bad, but then when I opened it up, he looked too skinny. I don't know if it's just because I like, you know, I'm kind of big myself, so I like big things. So take that as you will. So I thought, man, he's too skinny. I need him fatter. But then I thought, maybe his legs would look a little funny. So instead of like redrawing out the whole thing, yeah, it just went downhill from here. So I literally like redrew it again, but made him fatter. And yeah, no clue what I'm doing. Okay, this is all freehand. No, he's fat, all right. And here we go. Helpy Helperton 1 and Helpy Helperton 2. So this is my drop cloth. I just laid it out on the floor, making sure it's folded. So we're going to keep our gingy folded on the brown paper. Yep. Look at all that drop cloth. I'm going to iron it out a little bit first just to kind of make sure it's smooth. So since it's folded, that way when I cut it, I'm only going to have to cut and then unfold it. You guys know what's happening here. Okay, so you see I just taped some legs and some arms on there. Yeah, that was probably the mistake I did. But anyway, so we're going to line up the edge of the fold of our paper with the edge of the fold of the drop cloth. Trace it around with my pencil, okay, after I've ironed it. I haven't ironed it yet. I'm just still showing you guys. We're going to trace it, and then we're going to cut it out, okay? Now, I got smart. I kind of pinned it before I cut it. There's Gracie. To make sure that the two pieces, you know, because it's folded, stay together and one doesn't end up wonky. And I decided I need to use my pinking shears to hopefully keep it from raveling so bad. And poof, there we go. Got it cut. I'm thinking, I am on a roll, I'm ready, and then it clicks to me, wait a minute, I need 2 of these, because, yeah. Anyway, so, yeah, you gotta have 2 of them. So I pinned the one I cut on top of another chunk, so now I've got 2 gingies, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna glue them together, okay? So I've laid him out, and see, not looking too bad, he is fat, but y'all, I ain't even saying a word. You all will see it when you see it. Okay, so, and again, I'll iron it out, especially because of that crease right down the middle. And I'm going to start at the top, which this was probably another bad idea. I was going off Trisha K from the Craft-nanigans. If y'all haven't ever watched them, you got to go see them. They have a new channel now. It's called 50 and Fabulous, but they still show a lot of their DIYs and stuff and have their old ones on there. And this is where I got this idea from. Trisha and K are absolutely amazing. And anyway, so we're going to put these 2 pieces together, and I'm going to stuff it with some plastic bags. If you've ever watched them, I'm sure you've seen this. You've probably seen other crafters do it. Gracie had to go. So what I'm doing is I should have left his head open, but what I do is I leave the bottom open. Anyway, I'm just hot gluing it together just a little at a time, trying to keep it as even as I can. I don't mind the ravels. Now, here, what I thought about doing, I finished it up except for, like, at the bottom between his legs. Yeah, just the greatest place to stop, right? I thought about turning it right side out so that the outside didn't show, but I don't glue things very straight because, yeah, you don't need to have a hexagon head, okay? So if you were a good gluer, you could turn him to right side out. But I thought, well, having him wrong side out looks cute anyway, because that's where, if you saw my post earlier this week, I said primitive. We were going to make a little primitive gingy. Y'all, y'all. And of course, I leave the bottom open to stuff him. Well, that was not very appropriate of me, was it? Anyway, so I have glued all the way around except for down there in his bottom area. But before we stuff, we're going to paint him with old nutmeg brown. And yep, that's a little bottle, but I'll pull out the big guns here in a little while. We're going to add a bunch of water. And I'm just going to take that big chippy brush there and just slather this on. And no, I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. I figured out later that instead of going back, forth, up, down, because I didn't mind if he wasn't completely coated. Because still at this point, I'm thinking primitive rustic, you know? But you know how the train derails, right, guys? Yeah, my OGs, GOs, my OGs, you know how it rolls around here, right? So anyway, by the time I get almost done painting the whole thing, I realize if you go in circular motions instead of just back and forth or up and down, that really gets into all the drop cloth is a texture kind of like burlap if you've never messed with it. So it's kind of got a lot of holes. That's why I wasn't stressing out if he wasn't completely covered. Because, you know, again, primitive, rustic, this is what I'm going for. I had some ideas on Pinterest. And if I remember, I might pin it up here in just a second. But anyway, so, yep, got that sucker for $2.50 at the Walmart. See how I'm going in a circular motion there? Yeah, at this point, I'm pretty much done. But I was just touching up a few places and I realized going in a circular motion really got the paint down and all the fabric in the drop cloth. So, and now you can see the whole thing's covered. Now, did I worry about the back? No, because it's the back and this is going to be mine if it's not to the trash can. But anyway, you all will understand later. If you hang with me, you're going to get a good laugh if you already haven't caught it yet. Okay? Okay. Anyway. So, and I did water down. This took quite a bit of the nutmeg brown, but the more you water it down, and that's what I was kind of hoping. I didn't really even want to cover it this much. I kind of wanted some of that creamy drop cloth to show through a little bit. And my gosh, how much did I leave of this in here? Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. Anyway, so I end up here in a second, maybe, I guess. I thought I cut this off. Lord, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm having fun making a mess, obviously, as y'all can tell. But what I do at the back, some of the paint got on the back. So I literally used the back of him to, like, wipe up my mess all over my desk. Anyway, why am I still doing this? Why, y'all? Why? Look, the feet. I'm just going to say it now. Defeat. Okay? So anyway, going in that circular motion really got that. Sabrina, can you stop? Can we stop this? And thank you. Okay, so what I do is I just kind of, see, that's kind of rust. That probably looks better. And I just kind of rubbed it and tried to get all the wet paint off. I'm cleaning up with my project. Go figure. Anyway. And I thought that looked pretty cool. But anyway, so there we go. And then I'm kind of just crunching it and squishing it because it was still pretty damp. And plus that got some more paint on the backside. I thought I needed to put some like parchment paper. Look, I'm all excited right now. I don't get too excited pretty soon. Between the layers. But you really didn't need to. It didn't soak through. And then, yeah, Helpy Helperton here. I'm going to take my black ink in a big sponge, and I'm just pushing and twisting, and I'm just making him some eyeballs. Now, keep in mind, I was still going with the vintage thing here, or primitive, but that kind of already got shot because I literally have the whole thing painted brown when I wanted some of that cream drop cloth to show through. But, oh well. And then a lot of the ones I saw on Pinterest, because I'm probably going to forget to post a pic here, okay? Like the primitive gingies, they either did not have any eyes at all or they were very small. So, and then I put these big old honker eyes and then I made a mess. So what's happening now is I'm trying to get the mess off with a wipey and it ends up making more of a mess, y'all. He's going to look like somebody punched him in the eye by the time I'm done, and that's the way he ends. So I try to take the brown nutmeg paint and paint back over it again. And then later on, it still doesn't look good. So I get out the water bottle, spray it to try to blend it in, rub it in. Y'all. This is going down in history as probably one of the worst train wrecks you've ever imagined. Okay. I'm going to use some ballet slipper there to make some little cheeks, and I did use a smaller pouncer. And all these pouncers, I think I got these off Temu, but you can buy a pack of like a big, a medium, a small one at like Dollar Tree. If you can find anything at Dollar Tree now. I know I can't hardly find anything at Dollar Tree anymore. Anyway, so I'm just going to give him 2 little cheeks. And I did do these guys a couple times. Like I pounced his black eyes and then the cheeks here. I probably did it about 2 or 3 words. We know that's hard. In between dry times, I would dry them and then kind of pounce them again. It just depends on how dark you want it. Because, of course, it soaked through a little bit. Now, I got this huge black permanent marker and thought, well, let me just use this. And so thought I did pretty good getting him from cheek to cheek there. And then I just kind of keep going over it. And then I also tried to use my black paint Posca marker. And I don't know. I think it was just because the drop cloth is rough. Like I said, it's kind of got the texture of burlap to it, just not that rough. And so it was kind of hard to get these features on here. But like I said, I was going primitive, so all his features were not supposed to show. A lot of the primitive gingerbreads I've seen on Pinterest, they don't have a smile. They have like 2 tiny little eyeballs, and that's like it. And here I go putting a whole face on him, and his eyeballs are huge. Now I'm taking my white Posca paint marker to make him the little whites of his eyes. So now he looks like he's going to be looking off into the side somewhere. But then I decided it worked better if I took the end of a paintbrush and dipped it in my chalk paint to make a bigger dot. Because again, the markers weren't working that well on the drop cloth. The paint worked a lot better. And then I kind of give a little zhuzh in his little cheeks. Those little highlight things. See, the primitive ones don't have any of this. But here I go. Because you know me and my whimsical faces, and that's literally where it went. And if you want whimsical, by gosh, you got whimsical. Here I go trying to fix his eye again. And I'm just making it worse. Literally, I should have just left the black spot on there and let it go. And then I'm trying to touch up in other places where I got a drop of pink. And just take a moment to enjoy the chaos, friends. If you're here, like, comment, subscribe. Don't like, because I don't blame you. Look like somebody literally, I don't even know. Okay, so this is the next day. Oh wait, is it the next day? Yes, this is the next day. So he's completely dry. And what I'm going to do now is go back to that big pouncer that I used for his eyeballs. It's all clean, obviously. And I'm going to put 3 big old smooshy spots right in the middle. And we're going to turn these into little peppermint candies. Okay, so I think I do cut this down. I only show you, and then all of a sudden, boom, we got 3. Yep, okay, yay. Anyway, and I let that dry really, really good. Now, I'm going to start with the paint marker, but like I said, they weren't working good. So I just used the Posca paint marker to draw my lines, and then I'm using Crimson Red by Waverly and a small paintbrush and just kind of painting in there. And again, I realized instead of you doing paint strokes, if you pounce it and kind of swirl your paintbrush, it gets down into all the little nooks and crannies of the fabric. You'll see me do it here in just a second. Like right now, I'm just getting the outlines, and see how I'm pouncing up and down now? That works so much better than trying to make the swipes, like when you're actually painting. Kind of pouncing it and swirling it worked so much better. And so I'm only going to show you this one right here. So you make 6 lines, curves, and then you color in between. Everybody's seen it. You want to watch somebody do some good gingies? Go see Miss Jackie at Craftin' and Mimi's World. Woo! She is the gingerbread queen. That's my girl there. I love me some Jackie. Okay, so still looking like he got punched in the eye, right? Okay, so, yeah, if you haven't seen the bottom at this point with those feet, y'all. Okay, we're going to stuff him with a ton of plastic bags. So here is where I left him open. That's appropriate, isn't it? See, I'm thinking, whoop, he's going to be a fatty, and that's all I'm thinking about. It is yet to click to me how goofy these feet look, but trust me, it does click to me later. If it has not already clicked to you and you can't tell and nothing seems funny to you, you just wait just a few minutes, because I guarantee this gets better. Okay, and this was like, I did the little peppermint candies, and I dried them with my heat gun, and they dried pretty well, so I'm stuffing them all in the same night. Guys, I feel like I'm stuffing a turkey. So I guess this was pretty appropriate. You know, it's almost Thanksgiving. Let me stuff my gingerbread man here. That was the worst place to leave that hole open. I don't know why I thought that was a great place. I should have done it on the side of his belly or his head, guys. Don't leave an opening in an arm, a leg, in his bottom. Leave the opening on his belly or his head. So much easier. Anyway, I'm trying to get the bags up in his arms. This dowel rod is the ones you get at Dollar Tree. This just kind of helps me shove it into his hands. And as you can very clearly tell, I do not glue very well. Plus, one of the gingies, when I cut him out of the drop cloth, was wider than the other one. Again, I'm like, you see this girl? She like, what you doing? Okay, y'all. Look. The feet. What is the deal with these legs and these feet? What in the world? Like, heaven help me right now. Anyway, taking that dowel rod to stuff his feet, I still don't think it's clicked to me. I'm just thinking, oh, aren't these little stubby feet cute? And I'm flipping them around. And anyway, we're getting him stuffed, people. This took quite a lot of bags, but hey, they're free, right? I mean, you know, you use what you got. If you want to fill in with, you know, stuffing, look, I'm having a ball with the feet here. The polyfill, you go ahead. This way, if you did clear coat him or whatever to put a sealer on him when you're done, he can go outside since he's stuffed with the plastic bags. You stuff him with polyfill and he gets wet, that's going to be kind of nasty. But if you stuff him with the plastic bags, you ain't got to worry about him getting nasty. That works too if you put pillows on your patio and you make your own pillows. Put plastic bags in them instead of the polyfill or whatever, because then you ain't got to worry about him getting wet and nasty. He's not going outside. He's not going anywhere, probably. Anyway, so what we're doing is I'm getting the final stuffing in the feet and the legs, and I'm pulling them together, and then we're gluing them up. We're getting him finished off here after I've stuffed my turkey, right? So just putting that extra hot glue in there, and then making sure the bags are out of the way, and then pressing that down, and we're getting him all cinched up here, ready to roll, ready to go. He is a gingerbread man on a mission. Yeah, nice spot got left, and I'm tucking. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. This is terrible. Let me just shove the stick up. Oh my gosh, this was terrible when I was editing it and doing it, and now I'm sitting here literally watching it, and it's not any better, y'all. If you are still here, kudos to you, my friends. I'm sorry, y'all. I really apologize. I should have never even put this video out to public. This is terrible. I'm a teacher, and this is what I'm posting on television. Okay. Anyway, so I put a couple more bags in there for I gave him the final seal and closed up his bottom there, I guess you could say. I don't know why I put you guys through all this torture too. I thought, no wonder this video is almost 30 minutes long. Anyway, you guys will do so much better if you try this. You will, I promise. And find you a gingerbread man pattern. You could Google a gingerbread man pattern online for free to be able to trace and cut it out. And yeah, I just went freehand, and my friends, this is what you get when you freehand things. I'm just saying. Okay, so he's all glued together. You could go around and check if you got any little open holes. Just take your glue gun and pull those together. Push your bags out of the way or whatever you stuff him with, and just cinch him up, okay? And I do take some scissors and I kind of clip up some of these big clumps because I glued too far in instead of on the edge. And y'all, this is just, I don't even know at this point what this is. So yeah, so see how it's really thick because of where I put so much glue and it wasn't on the edge and fluffing his belly there. Let me fluff your belly for you, buddy. because that's about all you got going for you is your belly. Now, I think the head came out pretty cute, other than it looks like somebody punched him in the eye. But those feet, y'all, those feet. Anyway, so I'm trimming him up a little bit. He like has no legs. He's got this big belly and these feet. Oh, my Lanta. Anyway, I'm so sorry, y'all. It's finally clicking to me and dawning on me what I've done at about this point. Because I'm like, what in turn? I'm dying. I'm like, what? Okay. Oh, but they look better underneath him. Maybe I should just leave him just like that. I should like cut those legs off. But then is he a gingerbread man if I cut his legs off? So yeah, at this point it has dawned on me what has happened. So there's what I got going on, y'all. Look at it. Look at the feet. It looks cute from top. Now, oh my God, those feet. I want to cut the feet off. I want to make them disappear. They look so bad. Oh my God. See, doesn't he look cuter with no feet? I think he looks a little bit cuter with no feet. If we give him feet, oh my. Yep, it dawned on me. This dude, wow. Okay, anyway, I hope y'all got a good laugh. You can leave now. If you haven't laughed at this point. Anyway, trying to spruce him up a little bit. So I got some white rickamarackum there, and I'm just going to give him the typical gingy touches. I put a little rickrack on his head. Now he looks like a 80s retro with a headband. It's got some headband on his head. He just needs a jogging suit and some Adidas or something. So he can go running. Y'all, I'm so sorry. This was bad, but this is even worse now that I'm actually like watching this and trying to do this voiceover. We'll put some on his little wrist as well. And then we'll also put some on the feet. See, I'm still dying laughing at this thing. I have laughed at this thing since about Wednesday. I have been laughing. Yeah, it's just then trimming him up some more. So of course now using my pinking shears, that was pointless because I'm trimming that up. So yeah, we went from primitive to I don't know. I honestly don't know. It still looked like somebody punched him in the eye right there. So here, I'm going to try to fix it again. Let me put some water on it. And then it looks like he's crying. If I was him, I'd cry too. And then so over here and over there, I'm trying to blend it in. And it doesn't help at all. See, I'm laughing. Okay, so there we go. I want to make a big old bow. I've got all this ribbon. Y'all, I was asking my friend, Joanna's DIY Life. Y'all go check her out. She's amazing. I was asking her the other day. I said, I got all this ribbon. I don't even know where to start to make a bow. She goes, you can't go wrong with a bow. And I was like, no, but I can. Anyway, so this is what we come up with. So I just grabbed some ribbon. And I've got all sizes. And what I'm doing is just the loop method. If you want to know how to make a bow, go find another channel. This ain't the place to make a bow. Joanna makes great bows. Kathy Jo makes great bows. And yeah, this girl right here, yeah, this train don't make great bows. So yeah, I'm still work in progress. So I'm just doing the thing where you kind of flip it and you squish it and you leave a little bit of tail on it. So you don't completely fold it in half. You kind of probably fold it in a third. And then the final third, or yeah, 2/3 of it, and the final third hangs down. Anyway, I'm taking all my big loops right now, and I'm kind of cinching them and pushing them together. And that's my baby. Her official name is Hermione, because she had all that wild hair, kind of like Hermione on Harry Potter. But we call her baby, because she was the baby until I got the boys. Anyway, so I got 2 bundles of my big ribbon, and then I made 2 bundles of my smaller ribbon. And what I do is I take them and I just flip-flop them. And then I'm going to use some wire. And I left this in because Mr. Nosy, here's the man of the hour, y'all. he got to be all nosy. So I get some wire, and I'm trying to snip a piece of this wire off because I'm going to just wrap it around all my medium and smaller bows here. So I'm kind of holding it like a bouquet of flowers, you know, like you'd have for a wedding or something. And I'm just twisting that wire around there, and then you twist it like you would the little twisty ties on bread or whatever, you know, just to hold it together. Yeah, might make no sense. Anyway, so they played with the wire and it went to the floor. You can see he just took off with it. Now what I'm doing is I'm trapping all my 2 bundles of small ribbon with my 2 bundles of big ribbon. And again, you can see it. I'm making sure all my loops at the top, all my tails are at the bottom. So instead of the wire, I took my jute twine this time. I just kind of wrapped it, and then I tie it in a double knot. So it literally looks like a bouquet. It's just a bunch of loops with some tails, all scrunched together. Like I said, if you want to know how to make a bow, you're in the wrong spot. There are some magnificent bow makers out there, and this one isn't one of them. Look at that moose, man. Who doesn't love that moose? Oh, and doesn't he look so handsome with his bow? And then he had to go. Okay. So we got our bow done. Now what I want to do is just take these 3 ribbons, that coordinating colors, and just kind of, I'm just gluing these around his neck so it looks like he's got a little something around his neck and not just the bow on there. And I'm just hot gluing these down. So I'll get the green one glued down and finally use my spatula, you know, and then I'll put the red one on top, and then we'll put, that's the last of my white rickrack there. I got some tiny white rickrack, but that's the last of that size. And then I'm just kind of cutting it up. And I did put some glue on the back in the middle because nobody's going to see this. Nobody's going to see this except y'all are watching it. That's probably the only vision you're going to see. I might take him up and put him up at school in my classroom because the kids probably get a good laugh out of it. But anywho, I'm spreading out those tails there kind of half and half, making sure there was one of each one on each side, if you get what I mean. And then we're just piling on the glue. I'm not putting him outside. He's supposed to go on the door, but I'm not going to put him outside because, yeah, if he gets wet, the paint, I didn't like seal it or anything like that, and it's, yeah, it's not going to be good. Anyway, so, yeah, like I said, if I hang it at all. Okay, so, you know, I had to leave this in because it's inspection time. Mr. Moose got to get his nose up in all the business. You know, after I fluff my bow, he's going to stick his nose in it, and that was actually edited and was not the whole thing. For a hanger, if this decides to get hung up somewhere, I'm moving it more over to the side where the bow is because that's the heavier side, obviously. I just took another piece of jute twine. I dovetailed all the ends of my tails on the ribbons, except the smaller pieces. I just cut those at an angle. But these are the chunks that came off the burlap I had in there when I cut my dovetails, and put that over the jute twine with some hot glue and fluffed the bow for about 30 minutes. Okay, good. I took that out because I was afraid I left all that in. And y'all are still killing me. I just can't. There he is. Oh my gosh. Okay, come on, guys. He's cute. You gotta admit he's cute. But again, it still looks like somebody punched him in the eye. And that's dry. This was like day 4. Okay, this was just on Saturday that I finished that bow and had him done. And I did not put any water on it or anything. Friday or Saturday, yeah, nothing. He has been drying since Thursday, and he still looks like he's got a black eye. But anyway, so somebody punched my Gingy probably because he had short legs. So he got that big old belly, but y'all, them feet, those feet, he just needs longer legs and the skinnier. I should have went with the first pattern I did, but you know what? There he is. I hope you guys enjoyed this comical mess.
There's that QR code for Buy Me a Coffee by the Moose Fan of Coffee. Not that he needs any caffeine. I love you guys so much. Thank you for an amazing 2025, and I can't wait to get 2026 kicked off.